Welcome to day 5, the role of the project manager, the conductor of the orchestra, balancing leadership, technical skill, and strategic vision. Let's see if I can make it throughout this day without any coffee. We'll move on to the objectives for day 5. So the objectives for day 5 is to understand the key responsibilities of a project manager, or PM, explore the PM's alignment with stakeholders, team members, and organizational goals, examine the PM's role across process groups and knowledge areas, and then learn how PMs apply leadership and decision making in different environments. So, what is a project manager? And this is the question that many of you have. You guys should have a deep understanding of this by the end of the 30 days, but many of the questions that people have initially, and this is the question that I had, what is a project manager? I didn't know what it was. I'm just now getting into it. And this is years ago, but I'm just now trying to understand. And I'm like, what is a project manager? How does it apply? I'm in the military, so like, is it similar to the roles that I'm playing? And I found out that it's very similar to the roles that I'm playing. It's very similar to the things that we do, and the processes are very similar, or they parallel each other. And so it's good to have a deep understanding of what a project manager is. And if you already are a project manager, then you understand this information. This is something or a day that you really can skip. But I'm going to go over it just for the people that are new, the people that want some understanding of what a project manager is, how it applies across the processes, and what you should be looking to do within each. So what is a project manager? A project manager, or PM, is a central figure who plans, directs, and guides a project to successful completion. Think of a PM as the operational leader or the mission commander for a project, making sure the team is equipped, the path is clear, and the destination is reached. While the PM doesn't always have direct authority over every team member, especially in the matrix organizations, and we talked about that on day 2, I think, they are ultimately accountable for ensuring that the objectives are met on time, within budget, and to the satisfaction of all stakeholders. And so essentially, you're the leader of this project. You're a leader of a process in which you're going to go through in order to have a benefits realization at the end of it, and your organization is looking at you to deliver value, right? And so you're going to be the one that navigates the complexities of the project, ensuring that it reaches its destination. So core responsibilities: leadership and vision, right? Leadership is always going to be a core responsibility, because you're the person, you're the head figure, you're the person that's going to take the fall should anything go wrong. You are the liaison between the stakeholders, sponsors, and your team, and the people that are actually doing the work. And so you are directing them, your team, what to do, the development team, while also gaining insight into what is needed to be done and what the stakeholders want and sponsors want from you and want from the project itself. And so the PM doesn't just tell people what to do. They inspire, motivate, and unify the team around a common goal. Leadership also involves setting a clear vision, maintaining a positive environment, and guiding the team through obstacles. And I'll say this, as a leader, you can truly, and I mean truly, infect your team with negativity, or you can infect them with positivity, right? And so it's your choice. It depends on who you are and how you carry yourself. But it's important that you lead with positivity, so that you guys are always training towards working together and collaborating, and there's never any animosity or hostility within the team itself. Examples, right? During a complex product launch, when morale dips due to an unexpected setback, the PM rallies the team, clarifies objectives, and reestablishes trust and enthusiasm, ensuring everyone moves forward together. That's important. You have to do that as a project manager, and that's why I left it at number 1. Number 2, strategic alignment. A project doesn't exist in isolation. The PM ensures that the project's purpose, deliverables, and milestones align with the broader organizational strategies and market demands. This includes understanding the big picture and making decisions that drive long-term value. Right, like if you're in charge of a project that you don't think is going to provide any value or provide minimal value to your organization, it's your job to let your sponsors, stakeholders know that. Example, if the company aims to increase market share, the PM prioritizes features that enhances the customer satisfaction and brand reputation, ensuring the project contributes directly to strategic growth, right? If your ability to align your project strategically and to deliver like value that is intentional, right? That one helps the organization, but at a greater magnitude than otherwise would have, is going to be indicative of your ability as a project manager and your capability moving forward, stepping into additional roles, right? And so being a project manager can be a stepping stone to becoming an executive, right? And so it's important that you guys utilize this skill that you can learn. You can learn where your company wants to go, how to get there by studying market trends of the past and studying how teams and organizations disrupted marketplaces. And so 3, integration and coordination, right? That's another job that you have as projects involve multiple knowledge areas: scope, schedule, cost, quality, resources, risk, communications, procurement, stakeholders, and integration, right? So many words. The PM makes sure that all these elements work in harmony. They break down silos, right? Managing competing demands, resolve resource conflicts, and maintain a holistic view, which is important. You have to maintain that top level view. Example is balancing a limited pool of skilled engineers across multiple tasks, ensuring none are overloaded and each deliverable meets its deadline. And you plan for this stuff, right? So this is what you would do in the planning phase, and then you balance it while you're executing the project. And sometimes it may seem like it's feasible during the planning phase, and when you get into the project and execution phase, and you realize it's not feasible based off the hiccups and issues that you're running into. 4, stakeholder engagement, right? Stakeholders can be executives, team members, clients, customers, vendors, regulators, anyone impacted by the project, right? The PM identifies these stakeholders early and engages with them regularly, setting realistic expectations. They serve as the communication hub, ensuring everyone is informed, heard, and satisfied as the project evolves, right? An example of this is scheduling weekly briefings for executives while also sending concise updates to frontline team members, ensuring all parties know what's happening and can provide timely input. You're going to be managing a multitude of things, as you can see by just this list of core responsibilities. And so one of the most important is going to be stakeholder engagement, because you want to ensure that the stakeholders, right, the executives and team members truly understand what you're solving for and what the likely output of this project is supposed to be, because without that, you guys are moving in a direction that may not be consistent with the view of the stakeholders. 5, risk and issue management. Uncertainty is given in any project. The PM anticipates potential risks by proactively identifying them and analyzing their potential impact and developing mitigation plans. When issues arise unexpectedly, the PM acts swiftly to contain them and prevent escalation. Great PMs understand this, right? I'm going to emphasize that, because great PMs know how to risk mitigate, know where to place themselves when it comes to placing themselves at the point of friction, know how to anticipate. That's the main thing. Like, that comes with experience sometimes, depending on which industry you're in. You know how to anticipate these risks that'll happen should you go down a path that you didn't foresee. And so that's important, right? Great PMs, this is where you make your money. You learn how to risk mitigate and anticipate problems occurring. And when you're always reacting, you're going to end up in a vulnerable situation where, you know, you're going to either have a cost overrun or you're going to be over schedule. And so I said over schedule, you're going to be behind schedule. And so you have to make sure that you're competent in this area. Monitoring and reporting, right? The PM measures performance against the plan using metrics, dashboards, and reports to track progress. They ensure the deviations are identified early, corrective actions are taken promptly, and all stakeholders remain informed with accurate, up-to-date information. An example of this is using a performance dashboard to track earned value metrics, helping the PM forecast budget variances and schedule slippages, enabling timely course corrections. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as number 5. It's just the monitoring portion, the actual actions that you would have to do in order to manage that risk and manage the deviance. The PM's role across the process groups. The PM's responsibilities shift in emphasis as the project moves throughout its life cycle, but the presence and influences span all phases, right? And so as a PM with initiating phase, you're going to ensure that the project is born with a clear purpose and that all influencers are recognized early. That's important, because you don't want to recognize somebody later on. I mean, it might happen, right? And it tends to happen when you don't have an oversight of who all in the organization should be a part of this project, and you're not really given that information up front. That's usually when you would see it, but you would be able to forecast anybody that's outside of the organization that you work within that would need to be a part of this project in order for it to be successful. And so identifying them early on and engaging with them is going to help you be effective down range, but also allow you to create the best scope, right? Allow you to have the greatest benefits realization package, or bring the most value out of the project, because you understand what truly the stakeholders value within the project. So to planning, right? The impact of the PM is that you shape realistic roadmap for the team to follow, aligning it with the organizational goals and stakeholder expectations. Like I said, you're the liaison between your team and the stakeholders. So you have to know and understand that whatever you pitch to your team has to be aligned with the stakeholders. Whatever you guys are solving for has to be aligned with the stakeholders, has to be aligned. Whatever you're solving for and the stakeholders expecting has to be aligned with what the development team is producing. Execution phase. The PM turns plans into action, guiding the team and ensuring that deliverables meet the defined quality standards, right? You're overseeing how the execution phase is going, and you got to do these spot checks, right? PCCs, PCIs. You have to understand where and when things are supposed to be executed, how they're supposed to be executed, right? In order for you to truly, and you're going to use your development project, your project management plan in order to see. That's where you monitor and control. But you get that raw data from the execution phase, and you use that to determine whether or not you guys are meeting the quality standards, right? You guys are meeting the deliverables at which the scope was defined previously in the previous phase, right? These are things that you're going to have to do as a PM, as a leader, overseeing the project and how the development team is executing it. Monitoring and controlling, right? The PM is going to ensure the project stays on course, adjusting plans and resources as conditions evolve. You're going to want to anticipate things using analysis from the raw data points that you have from the execution phase. You're also going to want to issue changes, right? You have an issues log in the execution phase, and you're going to initiate change requests so that you can stay on budget and you can stay on schedule, right? Closing. You also, as a PM, are going to ensure the proper wrap-up, capturing insights that can be applied to future projects and demonstrating value delivery to stakeholders. This is imperative as people are going to use those assets afterwards, right? Lessons learned register eventually is going to be used by somebody doing another project, or maybe used by you, right? And so you want to have that information readily available should you need it. PM's involvement across knowledge areas, right? Applying leadership and decision-making skills in different environments, right? So you have to have emotional intelligence, technical, and so this is some of the stuff that we already talked about, right? PMI talent triangle. I'm not going to get into it. I want you guys to review this information, truly read through this information, but I'm not going to dive deep into it because it's going to just waste your time. I don't want to insult your intelligence. The PM and stakeholders, right? So stakeholders vary widely in their influence and interest. The PM must identify the stakeholders, early recognition of who will impact or be impacted by the project, engage with stakeholders using communication strategies, reports, meetings, informal check-ins to keep them informed and involved. 3, manage expectations, right? Negotiating priorities, clarifying requirements, and ensuring no party feels sidelined. An example of this is if stakeholders request new features late in the project, PM weighs the impact on costs and schedule, possibly suggesting these enhancements be included in a later phase rather than derailing current timeline. And the PM as a change agent, right? Organizations evolve and projects often serve as catalysts for that change. The PM guides the team through transitions, whether shifting methodologies, adopting new technologies, or reorganizing workflows, right? You're the person that is going to affect your team at a larger scale, and you can change, right, the course of your project just by, one, initiating a different communication style, right? Training your team, right? These are things that you can do. You can organize a workshop, right? And like I said, pilot new frameworks, right? These are ideas that you can implement within your team, especially if you have a projectized organizational structure. It's going to allow you to do so a lot easier. But in using and implementing new things that will help your team be more efficient, right? Stay on budget, right? And optimize the resources at hand, it's going to allow you to be more effective as a PM, but also allow your team to outperform their skill set sometimes and outperform their resources that they have available to them. So don't be scared to be creative, right? Don't be scared to implement new things, right? You are the change agent. You are the leader of the organization or of your team. So PM and agile versus predictive environments, right? The role of project management or PM, project manager or PM differs significantly between agile and predictive. And I'll just kind of break it down here. And predictive is best suited for environments with well-defined scopes, minimal change, and clear end goal, right? And the PM plays a central role in predictive methods, whereas in agile, you're more of a coach. You're more of the person that kind of facilitates a collaborative environment, right? You kind of navigate these conversations with your team. You guys are kind of on the equal playing field, but you're the person that is the liaison between the stakeholders, sponsors, and your team. And so the PM is going to be the person that helps you, let's say, for example, help the team release new features, right? They're going to act as a servant leader, right? They focus on enabling the team, not necessarily leading the team, if that makes sense. Whereas in predictive, it's the opposite, right? You're a central figure. Everything kind of runs through you. And so it's a little bit different, right? It's how you would see a construction manager during a construction project, how everything kind of runs through them and the operation side. That's something that you would want to kind of parallel with the predictive mindset or methodology used during projects. You are the central authority. You are the person that they look to. You are the person that is going to organize and oversee the project itself. So common challenges for project managers. And I'm not going to read all of this. Like I said, I don't want to insult you guys' intelligence. I do have an audio book out. If you guys want to go and reference that, if you want somebody who can read through it, I put the audiobook on there so that you guys can have that as a reference, just in case you don't want to read through it yourself and you like listening. But some common challenges for project managers is balancing competing demands. It's always a balance for your time, right? It's always a balance for deadlines and budgets and scopes and team capacities, right? Team capacities being a huge one, right? Can we provide enough value, or are we going to be able to complete this project in time, on scope, on budget, right? With the capacity of this team? Should we prioritize learning and training our guys up to be able to accomplish this task a little bit more efficiently, right? Competing demands. You have to make these decisions as a project manager. 2, managing uncertainty. When unexpected issues arise, the PM uses risk management techniques, contingency plans, and adaptive decision making to keep progress stable. You are the voice of reason. You're the person that they're going